welcome to a There It Is bonus episode. This is a bonus to Tuesday's Pop Talk basketball movie bracket episode. If you haven't listened to that one, go ahead and give it a listen. We went hard in the paint on some basketball movies. I cut some things out to make this bonus episode, but if you haven't listened to that episode, go listen to it now. It'll make more sense. There's something that Trey says in that episode about verisimilitude in regards to Richard Donner making Superman and wanting to have truth and realism in it. The last clip is Trey talking about verisimilitude in regards to Space Jam and Space Jam: A New Legacy. That's the last clip. This first clip here, though, is Rob telling a funny story from college about not getting to play for the college basketball team at the NCAA tournament.
My wife played basketball because she was a basketball player. Her middle school.
Well, Jason did credit you as the band guy. So
yeah, I know.
Speaking of band guys at a basketball game, I went to the first Duke game that was in the ACC tournament because it was in Brooklyn. And who were they playing? It was Syracuse. They played Syracuse.
Yeah.
The Syracuse band had a guitarist. He was playing like a PRS guitar, and I was like, I've never seen that in a band, in a college band before, and you could not hear him also.
My freshman year, we got into the tournament at Winthrop University. And lo and behold, guess who we drew first round? It was Duke. And so we were a 16 seed, they were 1 seed. So the pep band and the tournament was in Greenville, or at least so it was at the time it was the Bilo Center. And so I was going to try to get to go because we didn't have a guitar player in the pep band that they wanted one. But my son of a bitch professor, he was like, no, I'm going. So he played guitar and a bunch of professors in the played in the pep band because they're like, how many times do you get to see Duke play our team? Like,
oh my gosh.
I think my parents
were funny, but also awful to do to students.
Yeah, I know.
That was not right.
The NCAA puts strict limits on number of people, like even the bench.
Yeah.
Like I was on the bench all 4 of my years, but the NCAA didn't allow enough people on the bench for me, even my senior year, to be on the bench.
Wow.
During the NCAA tournament. Like there's only 1 spot for a manager.
Yeah.
That's wild. Well, no managers in any of these movies.
We're talking basketball.
Hoosiers.
Okay.
Hoosiers had it.
7 players, that it?
6. I don't count. I'm too short. I'm not no good. Equipment management is my trade.
I'm sure Glory Road does too, but I just mean as a main character. The main character is either a coach or a ball player or Bugs Bunny. And this next clip is us talking about how terrible Juwanna Mann is and why it should be canceled on all fronts. Rob, do you know who did the music for Juwanna Mann?
I don't. I'm going to just guess like Jamiroquai. I don't know who.
Wendy and Lisa.
Wendy and Lisa?
Yeah. The only women involved creatively with that movie.
You can
if you can't tell.
And they were...
You know, one of the things that caught me the most when watching Juwanna Mann is that the way they handled this beginning of his redemption. Because he's on the court. He's now a woman that nobody did a physical on. And nobody can recognize as being this famous NBA player, even though all he's got on is a wig.
I would be like, that's Dennis Rodman, by the way. That's
right.
Yeah.
So he's still a ball hog on that team. But then he did something. He accidentally passed the ball because he just lost his dribble. And so it ended up being a pass to his teammate who scored. And then one of his teammates patted him on the butt, like, great job. So now he's like, oh, we patting each other on the butt now. So now he's just taking every opportunity to pat all of his teammates on the butt. And in one huddle, he's like grabbing this one girl's ass. He just takes his hand off. And so it's like he decided to be a team player so he can keep slapping ass
Wow, that
with the
movie
women.
really needs to be canceled.
It really does. They really don't need to have that movie out on
Yeah.
multiple levels.
I do think it's funny though that like we've not talked at all about A New Legacy.
Yeah.
Like not even a second. Like
Well, give me I want to talk about it, but I do want to say something else about the verisimilitude concept and why it failed on Juwanna Mann and failed on Rebound. And I'd say failed on Space Jam: A New Legacy too. But it worked. They actually brought it with Like Mike. So there's this magical aspect of it where they find these shoes, got the initials MJ in there. Could they be Michael's? Oh, they got to be Michael's, blah, blah, blah. And this bully,
shoes, man.
this bully played by Jesse Plemons. I didn't know he was acting as a child. But Jesse Plemons,
oh my gosh.
yeah. So he's the bully in this movie. So he gets mad and tosses the shoes onto an electrical wire.
Oh, and then they get
So Bow Wow's grabbing the shoes and he gets shocked, and so that's what brings in the magic. And then he's at the court, so he's at an orphanage. This is an orphanage where he's at. So the kids from the orphanage get tickets to the game, and it's another fictional league or fictional team, but they actually did the movie in partnership with the NBA. So they had all this likenesses and all that. That's why they could get all the NBA stuff they got. So anyway, he's on the court for his favorite team, and Morris Chestnut is the player, his favorite player. And so he's putting on it, he's tying up his shoes because he's called from the stands. It's his ticket that can come and play one-on-one at halftime against a guy and maybe win a sweatshirt or whatever. So he gets down, he ties up his shoes, and he says, I want to be like Mike. So that's the magic. That's when he starts being able to play like Mike. And everybody sees him. And so Eugene Levy playing a very similar kind of character to Wayne Knight in the original Space Jam. So he's this guy who's like trying to just utilize anything to bring more butts into the seats. He's that kind of guy. So he's like, let's sign him up for a contract, but we'll keep him on the bench, but he'll bring butts to the seats because he's this phenom. And the coach,
kind of like Rookie of the Year, same concept in a way.
I didn't see that one, but it was played logically. You're not going to play the kid. We're just signing him for the butts in the seats.
Yeah.
Robert Forrester's like, this is crazy, so I'm not going to play him.
I've been coaching 35 years. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of.
You didn't see him play at halftime.
And Robert Forrester sees the tape and he's like, oh, this is actually kind of amazing what this kid did. So they made everything make sense from that point forward.
Yeah.
And why he ended up playing. And so you believe in the magic. And this movie, if you take the magic out of it, it's a slightly remixed Annie.
Oh yeah, because doesn't Morris Chestnut adopt him at the end?
He does. So he's Daddy Warbucks.
And isn't Jonathan Lipnicki in it too?
Yes.
I didn't
he
rewatch
becomes
it.
he becomes his brother. He also gets adopted by Morris Chestnut.
Right. So it's like Angels in the Outfield, because that's what happens. Because Joseph Gordon-Levitt gets adopted by Danny Glover at the end of that one. That's why you can't do sports, because there's too many baseball movies. Sorry.
right. And then Crispin Glover is actually a Miss Hannigan character, basically. So he's using the fact that now there's all this fame because of the fact that Crispin Glover's running the orphanage. He's the guardian for Bow Wow. So he's got to be the one to sign the NBA contracts. So he needs Bow Wow to not get adopted, because that way he can benefit from this superstar now.
I signed your contract as your guardian, so as long as you're playing for the Knights, that can't change.
So it's all that story kind of stuff going on. And Morris Chestnut didn't have a relationship with his parents, and he has a tough time really warming up to Bow Wow. And so it's like all this stuff going on.
Did Crispin every once in a while those hey man, get your damn hands off those sneakers?
The only line Jonathan Lipnicki had in Like Mike is, did you know the human head weighs 8 pounds?
One note. He's one note actor.
Mm-hmm.
God, he was cute.
He just kept saying that over and over again. And finally, here's that clip of Trey talking about why Space Jam worked and Space Jam: A New Legacy did not in regards to verisimilitude.
That was another tough matchup for me, was Teen Wolf versus White Men Can't Jump. So that's legit. Now, again, we haven't talked much about Space Jam. It was my runner-up, and you two both love it. Let's talk just a little bit about it.
It's your chance. Do your dance, bro.
So one thing, because I rewatched it this week, I loved it from the beginning because of all the, before I kind of started watching, because I did watch most of the LeBron version too, but before that I heard all the hate towards it. And so I was wondering, would the Michael version hold up if I rewatched it now? The answer, obviously based on my bracket, is emphatically yes.
Yeah.
And part of what made it, again, verisimilitude. They told a truthful story. They made it make sense. And they sort of had two parallel movies that merged. They had the Michael Jordan movie.
Yeah.
And then they had the Looney Tunes movie. And it was a very good, if not great, Michael Jordan movie. Very good, if not great, Looney Tunes movie that then merges. And just a little bit of context, if anybody out there hasn't seen it. This takes place, Space Jam takes place during the period of time when Michael was still playing baseball in between his two stints with the Bulls. And it definitely plays on the fact that he had this great relationship with his father, because that's the flashback at the beginning. Great actor, Tom Barry, playing a one scene and nailing a one scene role as Michael's father.
Getting pretty good, son. Go ahead, shoot till you miss.
You think if I get good enough, I can go to college?
You get good enough, you can do anything you want to, Michael.
And you see the kind of influence just from one short scene that the dad had on Michael. And so then after Jordan's original three-peat, that's when his father's murdered and he goes on to play baseball. And in real life, what happened is at some point, Jordan, at least the way he told the story back then, Jordan saw some of the guys on the baseball team playing pickup and saw their love for it, and it kind of rekindled that love for Jordan. So Space Jam kind of jumped off on that and basically used this movie to explain how Jordan got back to basketball.
Yeah.
And really was, I mean, they used some humor with Wayne Knight and stuff like that, but they were telling a fairly accurate story of Jordan's time as a baseball player.
Yeah.
Where, you know, he's getting made fun of for his lack of skills, and team doesn't have money because it's AA and blah, blah, blah. And so he's kind of going through the stuff you go through in that sort of situation. And the Looney Tunes movie is
the Monstars.
The Monstars.
It's Danny DeVito, isn't it?
Yeah, Danny DeVito's the bad guy. So he's on some other planet. He's got a theme park where they're losing patrons. People aren't coming. So they're like, we need a new attraction. And somebody mentions, how about we get the Looney Tunes? And so they're going to steal the Looney Tunes, kidnap them, and force them to be part of the attraction. And so the Monstars, as little like 1 inch or whatever pipsqueaks, go to Earth. They're not as dumb as Bugs thinks they are. He tries to do his normal Bugs Bunny antics.
We seek the one they call Bugs Bunny.
Does he say, "What's up, Doc"?
Yeah!
Nope. Never heard of him. You know, maybe there is no intelligent life out there in the universe after all.
Backfires on him a little bit. But then Bugs is able
You know,
to
everyone's
trick
seen
him.
Space Jam, right?
Well, I'm saying, but it's important because of the LeBron stuff that was shitty that I talk about what's great about this.
Yeah.
Because my point is that they're making it make sense. The whole thing is that the Bugs.
It's Barkley. Who is the player? It's Barkley.
Barkley.
Is it Bugsy?
Muggsy, Barkley.
Muggsy, sorry.
Ewing, Sean Bradley.
Yeah.
And I'm blanking on the fifth one.
Yeah.
So anyway, Bugs tricks them into now, okay, you have to give us a chance to win and not be kidnapped by you. So let's play you in basketball, because he's thinking they're 1 foot tall.
Yeah.
And they don't even know what the game is. So it's a smart Bugs Bunny move, is my point. Very smart Bugs Bunny move that backfires because they go and steal the games of NBA players. So now it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So that's why they bring Michael in and it merges. And it ends up being a very good blended movie that just, again, makes sense. And it's heartwarming and it's got the stuff. It's got all the stuff.
It's got the stuff. That's what you need. You need the secret sauce.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas LeBron, they didn't make any of that make sense. Like even Dom's game, the video game that Dom was making, it didn't have it didn't make sense. It's like they just randomly threw moves in there that looked cool,
Yeah.
But it didn't look like, it's not like NBA jams or any of that stuff where you could get on fire. It wasn't that kind of not realistic basketball play. It was just random.
Yeah.
So you can't follow it.
You know, and they just didn't do the traditional animation either. So I don't know.
Yeah. But also, like, why was Bugs recruiting the Looney Tunes in the LeBron version of the movie?
Yeah.
Because they knew they had like the Goon Squad. They knew they had real deal basketball players.
Well, Bugs Bunny, I need to assemble an elite team of A+ ball players to help crush this algae god. We're gonna need the most powerful Warner Brothers characters for this team. Gotta start with Superman. Man, I could have used him on the Cavs. Ooh, King Kong, he'd be a beast on the boards. We're gonna need a strong power forward. Iron Giant. This guy?
Yeah, he's explosive. You know what we're missing?
Everything. We're missing everything. You're kidding, right? This is not the team I asked for.
So it's like, it just, none of it made sense.
Yeah.
The game didn't make sense. and they just, like Rob said earlier, it was just a commercial for the Warner Brothers IP.
Yeah. But full disclosure, and I think you need to be honest, Trey. Trey is in a relationship with Lola Bunny. So like he and Lola have been together for a couple of years now. So it's, you know, I want it to be out there. So obviously he's gonna pick Space Jam. Because
no, she's in both Space Jams though. So,
I know she is,
like,
but I'm saying that you first saw her in Space Jam and so.
yeah, it is the nostalgia. But the joke that you're making is actually another garbage thing that they did in the
they did
version. Because
I've only seen bits and pieces. I didn't watch it. I only watched
so it's the thing. So there's a positive aspect to it that they didn't do in a thoughtful way. Because they wanted to slightly redesign Lola so she's not sexualized. Not that I thought that she was in the first movie, but they wanted to like tone that down. So that's fine. That's thoughtful. I get it. Whatever you think about how she was done in the first movie, they don't put Pepe Le Pew in the second movie at all because they think that he's a problematic character.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever you think of that, fine. This is where it gets into it not being thoughtful. Who are the characters from A Clockwork Orange?
There was me, that is Alex, and my 3 droogs, and we sat in the Korova milk bar trying to make up our razoo docs what to do with the evening. This would sharpen you up and make you ready for a bit of the old ultra-violence.
Hi there, my little droogies.
He's enterprising, aggressive, young, bold, vicious.
Pretty well, little brother. Pretty well.
We know you're talking about those characters, yeah.
The Droogies?
Yeah, the raping characters.
Right.
I think it's the Droogles or something.
So when LeBron and the Goon Squad are playing against each other, they have all of the Warner Brothers IP there in the stands watching, including these characters from Clockwork Orange.
Are Harry Potter in there? Is Harry Potter in it at all?
Yeah, you got some Harry Potter, some bootleg Harry Potters, and some like the bootleg Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze and a bootleg version of Danny DeVito as Penguin. Like it's the bad theme park. Not even that. It's like the Hollywood Boulevard character people who dress up as characters. Like it's that
Times
version.
Square or Times Square.
Why do I get the feeling the only thing you've ever jumped is a subway turnstile? You're exactly like the real Spider-Man, except when your senses are tingling, it's bedbug. It's a little gamey, the costume, okay? It smells a little bit. You might want to wash that pussy.
Yeah, like is that version of the Warner Brothers IP in the stands?
Yeah.
Including these characters from Clockwork Orange. So you think Pepe Le Pew is problematic, so you take them out.
But
you put the Clockwork Orange
guys. Yeah, that's. Hey, why don't they just have Jack Nicholson from The Shining in it while they're at it? So.
But anyway, Space Jam was legit great, so it's my runner-up.
Yeah. So we're still talking basketball. We're talking basketball. Can I say, seeing Shaquille O'Neal in real life was a monumental moment because he and I made eye contact. Because I was working concessions for a Bobcats game, and that's when he was playing for the Heat. And I'm on the court, and he's walking in front of me, and he makes a millisecond of eye contact with me. And it was like the only other time I've ever felt that way is I once made eye contact with a bald eagle. And the bald eagle actually head nodded me. I'm not kidding. It was possibly besides the birth. Yeah, possibly besides the birth of my children, one of the greatest moments of my life. And seeing Shaq in real life and him making eye contact with me was, one of those moments. So,
Well, I hope you enjoyed this chat. I wanted to share it because we talk so much about truth in comedy, especially in the improv world, but it applies to comedy anywhere. If you're making a stand-up joke or if you're working on a show like Last Week Tonight or The Daily Show, there has to be something that the audience observes as true in order for the joke to land. And the same is true in improv. If someone is doing something or saying something that is so contrary to what we understand is happening in a scene, then it doesn't land as well. So you have to ground it in that scene or ground it in a reality so that people can see a juxtaposition. And that sort of activates jokes when people can see the difference between how a character is acting and the way the world works in that scene, or the way the world just works in general. We have to see that difference in order for something to be funny. And that takes having some truth in what you are doing. You have to establish truth in your scene. Verisimilitude. Let it appear real. It also, as an actor, is a good thing to do in your scene work or your sketches or short films or whatever you're working on that's comedic. If you are bringing a real person to the role, it also helps the audience sort of dig in and get into it and be affected by it and laugh harder. If you want our bracket, you can still get it on thereitispod.com. Fill it out and share it with us on social media. #HoopThereItis. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram @ThereItisPod. Also go to youtube.com/ThereItis. Subscribe to our videos. We've got new videos going up every week. Until next time, be good to each other.
The music for the theme song was created by Neil Brooks. The rap was written and performed by Nick Acevedo. The logo for There It Is was created by Jeff Prater. The There It Is podcast is produced by Jason Farr.